Joining me now is Kentucky Senator Rand Paul. Senator Paul, we've moved from one type of lockdown to another, from COVID to a military one. Are you worried about this constant moving of the goalpost and slow creep?
Well, absolutely. With regard to the pandemic lockdown, you mentioned the Stanford study. This is a peer-reviewed study in a medical journal that says they studied 10 different countries, and what they found is that the mandatory lockdowns did no better than voluntary suggestions. So I've been saying this for a long time. I don't think we've changed the trajectory of the virus at all with any of the things we're told to do, and they're never going to let up on this. But what I tell people is use common sense. If you've had the disease or you've been vaccinated and you're several weeks out from your second dose, throw your mask away and tell Dr. Fauci to take a leap. Because once you have immunity, you don't need to do this. They will never let up. There are doctors out there saying, well, we need to wear them after the vaccine, and really we may need to wear them forever. That is ridiculous, and that defies the science. So when you've had it, and you have immunity, or you've had a vaccine and you've had your second dose and you've got immunity, I say throw your mask away and tell these so-called experts who say lockdowns work, tell them to take a flying leap, because there's no scientific evidence that the lockdowns have done anything to change the trajectory of this virus.
I want to talk about what's happened to Washington, D.C. since January 6th with the incursion by these extremists who went into the Capitol, obviously enormously destructive politically, personally, physically. Lives lost. But are you concerned about the size and scope of military deployment in the nation's capital in the aftermath of that?
Well, the thing is, Laura, government, they either underreact or overreact. So I think there's too little security, obviously, last week, and now we're going to become a militarized zone, and, they're checking congressmen as they come in to see if they have a sharp pencil or a sharp pen. So it's gotten ridiculous. And so we'll see what happens and whether it's permanent. But most people who write about civil liberties say that in times of war or in times of stress or in times of crisis, you lose your civil liberties very quickly, but it's very difficult to get them back because government, once it grows large, never wants to give up on this. But yes, we have to resist this, and we have to have security, obviously. But I think living in a wartime state with, we have troops in the Capitol, they're staying in the Capitol. They're platooning and camping in the Capitol.
That's preposterous.
So, I understand. Yeah, I understand, the last week we weren't prepared, and that was a real problem, and I regret everything that happened last week with that. But going forward this week, I think there's a danger of overreacting, and, they say they are going to have this sort of virtual inauguration, so I've informed them I'm sending my hologram. My hologram's going to be there. If the hologram doesn't have a spot, I may send a cardboard cutout, but if it's going to be virtual, I think I can go virtual, So.
Well, here's what Pelosi said about this military-style encampment in D.C.
With the insurrection of last week, it is necessitated by security to have more security. It depends on the intelligence, and we have to have more security than the intelligence might warrant. I think in this case, redundancy may be necessary.
I don't even know if she knows what she's saying there, but redundancy may be necessary. I mean, does she want tanks rolling down Pennsylvania Avenue?
I think the redundancy is in her speech. I think the redundancy is in her speech. But, I'm not against security. We do have to have adequate security, and I want people to be safe. I want the new president to be safe. I want the old president to be safe. And I think one of the questions with their crazy impeachment stuff that they're talking about is, are they going to strip President Trump of his security? I mean, can you imagine being an ex-president and being stripped of your security? So these people are bitter, and the rancor and the bad taste they leave in the mouth. I just don't understand how they can be moving forward with this. And look, I'm not just saying I'm for everything President Trump has done. I was for seating the electors because I think Congress shouldn't overturn the state electors. But at the same time, the thing they're doing now is an overreaction. And if they think they're going to have a positive feeling from the public when they're going to go through a partisan impeachment again, I think that's absolutely insane and wrongheaded.
Are you surprised that your colleague Mitch McConnell at least has left open the possibility that there will be a Senate trial and when Trump is already in Florida?
Well, I don't often get asked my advice from leadership how they should react, but my unsolicited suggestion would be this. They will destroy the Republican Party. If leadership is complicit with an impeachment, or if leadership votes for an impeachment, they will destroy the party. And like I say, I have opposed President Trump when I thought he was wrong. I've been for him when he was right. We did a lot of good things throughout the Trump presidency. And impeachment is purely a partisan thing. It's for these moral, oh, I'm so much better than you and you're a bad person because I'm so moral. These are the kind of people that are going to do this. Look, I didn't agree with the fight that happened last week, and I voted against, overturning the election. But at the same time, the impeachment is a wrong-headed partisan notion. But if Republicans go along with it, it'll destroy the party. A third of the Republicans will leave the party.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't about whether
donors.
it was a right or wrong debate. Yeah, it wasn't about. This
donors.
isn't about anymore about the Electoral College. It's about the future of the party and whether you're going to ostracize and excommunicate President Trump from the party. Well, guess what? Millions of his fans will leave as well.
American voters who supported President Trump will feel that they've been impeached and called a white supremacist too. Senator, thanks for what you're doing to protect civil liberties. We hope you stay on it.